Adam! Oh!
James!
This entire area is covered in these weird stick figures hanging from this tree.
Body bags. Oh my god, man, how eerie is that?
Adventure often blinds us to the lethal risks hiding in the shadows. Whether it's a 65-foot plunge into a pitch-black Nevada mine or a master diver's final struggle at the bottom of a crushing abyss, one mistake is all it takes. When curiosity turns to terror, would you trust your instincts, or is the price of a thrill simply too high? Years earlier, the U.S. Bureau of Land Management issued a public awareness campaign called Stay Out and Stay Alive, a direct warning about the unseen risks of entering abandoned mines. The campaign described hazards ranging from unstable passageways and lethal drop-offs to remaining explosives and poisonous gases. But alongside the safety advice was one disturbing true incident backed by recovered video, an event that almost ended in disaster. The incident took place on July 4, 1998, when a group of young men came upon an abandoned mine in the Nevada desert. Even understanding the danger, they decided to go inside, recording their actions. Ironically, within the opening moments of the footage, some admitted how reckless their choice was, yet they moved forward regardless.
As you see Briz pointing out, stay alive. It's a good point, but we're not too smart, so we're gonna go anyway.
This is an unsafe mine. Danger.
At first, the visit felt relaxed. The group walked through the entrance laughing about the warning signs posted nearby. The farther they traveled, the more the surroundings shifted. Rotting wooden supports, loose stones, and unstable bridges appeared more often. They crossed collapsed sections and remarked on signs of earlier cave-ins, but still dismissed the risk.
If you look at all this, there's lots of rocks and stuff that have fallen from the ceiling, which indicates that probably not a good idea to be walking this way. And,
well, they've already fallen, so they're not going to fall again.
Well, there's more to fall still.
As they pushed deeper into the tunnel, network confusion began to appear. They wondered where certain paths went and noticed symbols painted on the walls, arrows, X's, and markings they didn't understand. It became harder to remember their route, making it easy to imagine how someone could lose their way inside the maze of shafts and corridors.
Yeah, we gotta remember where we're... Okay, we got out here.
Who painted these X's and stuff? Grant. What do they mean? Dead ends and stuff. Okay, they're all got an X on them. We can go this way. That one's got an X, but it's also got that. What does the diamond mean?
Where's that go?
It goes down.
A long way.
Ooh, that's not a little. Well, it'd be kind of hard if you slipped and fell, you could catch yourself before you actually fell down there.
Not if panic set in and you scream like a little girl. Got some pipes. Oh, wow. We have to climb that.
Yeah, so everybody get up.
I got it.
You're gonna be the lucky one to fall. This is going to America's Funniest when somebody falls.
That's a good idea. Alrighty. Oh, that's the table. Don't touch that.
The ropes.
Then they discovered a rope old fraying and hanging from a beam above a deep vertical shaft. Without delay, one of them, Adam, offered to climb down with it.
This is down to the main shaft.
Wow, so we're climbing down this rope.
Yeah. How far down?
How are we getting out of it?
Climbing up it.
I see.
None of them had real climbing training. No harnesses, no safety lines, only a single decaying rope. While the others recorded, Adam started lowering himself, but just seconds into the descent, the rope snapped.
All the way down to that ladder, see where it's laying down?
Where the
Looks like a good 30 feet.
Where the am I gonna hook this
I'll
camera?
go first. I'll go first. About 600 feet.
You don't like where to go. Put it like he's doing it into your mouth.
Is it off now?
No, it's not. How am I gonna get this thing down there? Yeah, but how am I gonna get back up?
Not
I don't have a
Hey, good. Give you my belt strap on.
Adam! Oh,
Adam!
oh,
Adam!
yes.
Adam!
Oh, God. Oh, God, somebody help.
Adam!
He dropped nearly 65 feet into the darkness below, Panic filled the tunnel, yelling, rushing footsteps, and chaos. When they finally reached him, Adam was unconscious, but alive. The fall hadn't killed him instantly, which was almost unbelievable. His friends managed to find a way out and call emergency responders. Rescue teams eventually reached Adam after hours of moving through the mine system. He lived with fractures and severe bruising, but alive. This wasn't folklore or a staged reenactment, it truly happened. The recovered recording, later used in a public safety message, showed how dangerous abandoned mines really are. The group was fortunate. If Adam had struck the shaft walls while falling, or if the rope had broken, for the last person descending, the entire group might have been trapped with no exit and no way to reach help. Dying from injuries or starvation would have been a real threat. Why do people ignore posted warnings even when danger is clearly visible? Is it excitement? The urge to capture something risky, or the belief that it won't happen to me? In this situation, they escaped, but not every group does. On the YouTube channel, action-adventure twins brothers James and Edward have spent years sharing footage of their journeys through narrow and hazardous cave systems. But in early 2022, one expedition came dangerously close to ending in disaster. In January of that year, the pair traveled to Petty John's Cave in Georgia, a site they already knew well. Having explored its winding passages before and uncovered features such as a hidden underground waterfall, they trusted their experience with the terrain. This time, however, they aimed for a tougher challenge, one of the cave's most demanding routes, known among cavers as Nervous Breakdown, a name that reflects its reputation.
Whoa, entrance room.
The trip began in familiar fashion, with the brothers squeezing through tight corridors and pushing deeper underground. After roughly 25 minutes of crawling, they arrived in a muddy chamber containing a narrow vertical shaft in the middle. Moving cautiously around it, they understood that a single misstep could result in serious injury or a fall into an area far too dangerous for rescue. After passing this section, they reached the entry point of Nervous Breakdown. That's when trouble appeared. Part of the route had collapsed, making it difficult to determine the correct direction. Eventually, Edward thought he had located the proper path and started downward, while James remained behind as a precaution. That decision soon became critical. Minutes into the descent, Edward called out to James but received no reply.
I found a rope! I don't hear James anymore. Uh-oh.
Somewhere within the maze of tunnels, they had lost each other. With no visual contact and no signal between them, Edward was now alone in an unfamiliar part of the cave. He tried to remain composed and continued forward, hoping to reconnect. But after more than half an hour with no sign of his brother, anxiety set in. Each tunnel looked the same.
James! James! It's been like 30 minutes since I last saw him. I don't even know where I'm at. I tried to go back to the last place I saw him, and everything just looks the same. It's just a jumble maze. The tape, yeah. Okay, this tape looks familiar.
The walls curved and tightened, transforming the cave into a confusing labyrinth. A single wrong move could lead to a sudden drop or a space too narrow to escape. This highlights the true danger of caving even without injury. Disorientation and separation can be just as life-threatening. Edward began retracing his route, attempting to locate the correct way back. The farther he traveled, the less certain he felt, until a small strip of red tape came into view.
The tape, yeah. Okay, this tape looks familiar. Oh yeah. This has got to be the way. I'm getting close. James! Still nothing.
He recognized it as a marker from their original path. That sight changed everything. Using the tape as a reference point, he pushed forward again.
James! Oh! You're over here? Oh! Dude. This place is a maze, man.
Oh, hey, I see your light.
Dude. I thought we were never gonna see each other. Dude, I know. Oh.
Soon, he heard a familiar sound, James's voice. Following it, and then spotting the beam of a flashlight ahead, Edward finally rejoined his brother. Relieved, they stayed together for the remainder of the journey and exited the cave safely. The incident serves as a powerful reminder that even skilled explorers can face serious danger underground. Knowing a location well does not ensure protection, and the mental strain of being lost and alone can be as dangerous as any physical hazard. Would you have continued moving in Edward's situation, or waited in place, and is exploring alone or separating even briefly ever worth that level of risk? On October 28, 2004, 50-year-old Australian pilot and technical diver David John Shaw made history by reaching a depth of 270 meters inside South Africa's infamous Bushman's Hole, one of the deepest freshwater sinkholes on Earth. It was a feat achieved by only a few in the world. But the purpose of this dive wasn't only to break a world record. What David found at the bottom of that shaft would soon change everything. There, at the edge of the silt-covered floor, was the body of Dion Dreyer, a 20-year-old diver who had vanished 10 years earlier during a dive in the same cave. His body had remained trapped due to the intense depth making recovery impossible until now. Shocked by the discovery, David tied a line to the body and ascended, carrying with him not just footage but a promise.
It wasn't very steep, and when I saw the body over to my left, I thought, oh, that's the end of going deep. So just tied my line to it, and by then I was, well, we won't discuss that, and so I just left my line.
After informing Dion's parents, David made the decision to return and bring him home. The recovery dive was scheduled for January 8, 2005, and involved meticulous planning. Cave diving at that depth isn't just dangerous, it's borderline suicidal without flawless execution. The plan was precise. David would follow the line he'd tied on his earlier dive bag, the body, and begin the long ascent. At around 220 meters, his friend and support diver Don Shirley would meet him and take over the recovery. From there, a chain of divers would assist in transporting the body safely to the surface. But the dive didn't go to plan. Roughly 90 minutes and surface crews received an alarming update: no signs of movement from either David or Don. Then, a message came through. Don had spotted David in the water, but he wasn't moving.
Don's okay. Dave's not okay.
In an attempt to reach him, Don exceeded his planned depth. The result was catastrophic. His rebreather unit failed. He began vomiting from oxygen toxicity and nearly passed out. By sheer instinct, he held on to the guideline and was pulled to safety. David was not so lucky. When rescue teams later recovered David's body, they found Dion's remains still attached to the line. Despite the outcome, David had succeeded, just not the way he intended. Helmet camera footage later revealed what had gone wrong. The body, once trapped in silt, had come loose and began floating freely. In trying to bag it, David became entangled in the recovery line. His light got caught, his arms tangled, and his instruments were neglected as he struggled to manage the chaos.
This line is just getting everywhere because this body is floating. It's not stuck. Everything's moving. Right. Light gets caught on the line there. Move it out of the way. Still got a nice bright light.
Under intense nitrogen narcosis, akin to intoxication under pressure, his coordination and judgment began to fail. He fought to cut himself free, but the lack of oxygen movement and control was too much. In his final moments, he found himself face to face with Dion's lifeless mask before darkness took over. David Shaw was among the most skilled divers alive, but even elite training can't always outmatch the variables introduced by depth, pressure, and equipment failure. The dive was planned down to the second, but fluid dynamics, body movement, and silt disturbance can't always be predicted. The fact that Dion's body became buoyant again after a decade underwater may have been caused by changes in gas buildup or sediment shift, a factor no one accounted for. Don's brush with death only added to the tragedy. That both men nearly died but only one returned is a haunting reminder of just how hostile the deep truly is. David Shaw succeeded in his mission, but at the cost of his own life. The footage recovered from his helmet became not just a record of a heroic act, but also a devastating chronicle of one man's final moments beneath 270 meters of water. It raises a painful question. Was it worth it? Was closure for a grieving family worth the ultimate price? Shaver Lake, California, is famous for its picturesque trails, clear alpine waters, and thick forests. But for one nearby man, what started as a peaceful day outside took a strange turn, one that might add a striking piece to the ever-growing Bigfoot mystery. While walking near the shoreline, he discovered something unusual in the soft ground, a line of enormous footprints, far bigger than anything a person could leave. The marks were human-shaped in form, but far too wide and long to be confused with a shoe print or prank. He didn't have a measuring tape, but their scale made an impact. Still, he continued with his day, dismissing the find as interesting but not worth focusing on. That changed when something unusual appeared in one of his pictures. Later that afternoon, while fishing near the same shore, he paused to snap a few casual photos of the lake and nearby trees. It wasn't until he examined the images that something disturbing stood out. In the distance of one photo just beyond the tree line, partly hidden by leaves, was a shape. Dark, upright, human-like. At first glance, it could be mistaken for a shadow or a play of light. But on closer review, image analysts noticed something odd. The figure appeared to have a pointed head, long arms, and was covered in dark hair features that began to match descriptions often linked to Bigfoot encounters. Even more intriguing, a smaller shape could be seen clinging to the chest or shoulder area of the larger figure. It didn't seem to be part of the scenery, and its position suggested motion, or possibly a defensive stance. Some think this may have been a juvenile carried, much like how apes or orangutans transport their young. After adjusting contrast and sharpening the image, additional details became visible. The figure's outline showed a slim but tall body standing upright with an unusual posture. Its natural coloring blended easily into the background, which may explain why it wasn't noticed at first. Specialists in image analysis avoided calling it proof, but several agreed the shape does not resemble any known primate native to North America. If the smaller figure is truly a young offspring, it would indicate social behavior and family groups, a detail that matches repeated but anecdotal Bigfoot reports across North America. Could this picture be real evidence of a Bigfoot family in the wild? Or is it simply a play of light, shadow, and expectation? Whatever the outcome, this incident adds another layer to the mystery, suggesting that if such beings exist, they may not be traveling alone. Tell us what you notice in the photo. Is it real, mistaken, or somewhere in between? Share your thoughts in the comments. This footage is disturbing not because it connects to a proven crime, but because none of it has a clear explanation. Shared on December 14, 2025, the video comes from MKP Studios, where explorer Casey records strange items left behind in isolated wilderness. When he returns to a forest in the Pacific Northwest where he once found a ringing phone, he quickly notices the environment has changed, evidence that someone else has visited the spot since carefully and intentionally.
We have our first sign just giving warnings not to go any further. So yeah, let's just keep going and see what happens. Whoa. I see some like trash. Yo, it's a suitcase and a tire. That's crazy. And a weird looking blanket.
As I started hiking into the woods, I immediately noticed several missing person signs posted along the trail.
I've never seen any missing signs around here before. This is definitely a new one. I'm pretty sure this is a sleeping bag. This looks like pretty new. There's something in here. Whoa, it's a shotgun shell. It looks like it's unused. I don't know what to say about that. That's definitely one of the stranger finds we've ever come across. Every part of me right now is drenched.
Scattered along the path are objects that seem out of place, trash, large items, and debris that point to repeated activity rather than a single stop. It does not look like a campsite, but it also does not seem random. As Casey moves farther and harsh weather sets in, heavy rain limits sight dull sound and makes travel risky. Deeper into the woods, he finds missing person posters posted far beyond where they would normally be seen.
This is the area that I found the cell phone and the cross, and you can see the cross right there. It seems to have fallen over. I came down this trail and I started hearing ringing, and I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. It was right over here. Whoa. There's something else right down there. There is something else over here. This was not here the last time. This was the original one that we found, but it's fallen over. It's been at least a couple months since I found the phone. It was right here. I'm so shocked right now. I can't believe this. Someone had to have been here recently to put up this second cross. Very, very strange.
Near the phone's original location, more changes appear. The cross he documented before has fallen, and another one now stands beside it, marked with the words, "Forgive us." Someone clearly returned after his last visit.
I think I just found something. Holy sh**. What? This entire area is covered in these weird stick figures hanging from this tree. There's another one hanging right next to it. I just found two more. Holy sh**. So there's that one down there. There's another one hanging right below it. And then there's this. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. I am soaking wet right now. We are deep in the woods, and there's no reason why these should just be hanging here.
The whole area felt like I'd wandered into some kind of ritual site. And as strange as it sounds, so after a few moments to collect myself, I decided to push on.
We just found a machete. Just found this machete stuck to this tree here in the middle of nowhere. What was that? A drone, maybe? That was really loud. I swore I heard singing coming from nearby. Like different pitches. There's something in here. It's like a little Ziploc container with duct tape around it. It's like a remote control to something. Guess with this is that it's some sort of remote control to... Oh, wait. It's a drone remote. It has two drone icons right there, but there's no drone inside this container. Just randomly in the woods. Like, you can't get more random than that.
Farther along, several stick figures hang from trees, placed with purpose. Later, a machete stuck in a tree, and a container wrapped in duct tape holding a drone controller strengthen the pattern. None of it feels accidental. By the end, there are no clear conclusions, only the sense that this forest is being used repeatedly, deliberately, and quietly. None of these discoveries confirm one single explanation, but together they suggest ongoing human activity in a place meant to be empty. When remote areas show signs of planning and return visits, how can you tell when curiosity becomes genuine danger? During mid-June, an Instagram poster called Palmy Dylan uploaded video from a nighttime trip across Australia's outback. Along a deserted, unlit highway, the beam of his lights exposed an odd shape ahead, instantly changing an ordinary drive into an unnerving experience.
Seen way too many horror movies for this. You're a f***ing psycho, mate.
One lone figure remained completely motionless in the center of the road facing the approaching car. Rather than turning around, the driver reduced speed, passed by carefully, and then sped away into the dark. The figure showed no response, never shifted, and made no move to pursue. When the clip spread, viewers were split, some convinced it was a human, others arguing it could have been a mannequin intentionally set there to frighten motorists or make them slow on that isolated stretch of highway. In areas so remote, even harmless sights can seem dangerous, if it was not a person or a mishap. The YouTube channel Solo Exploration follows a man's lone trips into deserted and remote locations. Posted on May 20th, 2025, this episode pushes that idea farther than normal. Instead of just exploring, he plans to spend the night inside a deserted morgue, a site intended for the dead. What starts as a planned test gradually becomes disturbing.
Check that for a sign. Life gives you signs. Oh yes, that's the sign we're looking for. Oh, what a creepy little bridge. Daylight, feeling good. It's just a weird looking ass bridge. There is cameras on that. Let's go have a look around first. I know there's two cameras looking at me now. Straight off that main road. Take this path right down to it. No cameras there, I can peek round. Let me just get up there and check it out. So, I've come up here. You can see these big boards that are on top of the slate. There is a hole here. I don't think I can fit in there. Look at the size of that hole, man. There's one camera on the corner. Up there, that was the one that was pointing up. There's one over there, but it's looking down. I'll just climb up here, then I'll hop over and go and have a look at that. Maybe there's an access point on the top as well, but I can also just scope out this building. This building is alarmed, all of them keep saying that. All padlocked, obviously. These two cameras up there. None of them cameras look new though, so I'm not too bothered about them. I'm just got to assess it. I'm going to get my jacket on. I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to grab a head torch out. I'm going to drop in. We're going to explore it no matter what.
The journey passes through vacant farmland, marked only by corroded signs, and the ruins of a hospital site long forgotten. With every mile, the loneliness grows more intense. When he arrives, the morgue stands in silence, sealed, closed caution signs, hanging loose, shattered cameras observing nothing. After walking around the structure and marking possible exits, he discovers an opening and slips inside.
Can you believe I've just got through there? You got a sink. See this? They used to operate on the bodies. Drainage down here, look. Electrics. Phone there. The body bags. Oh my god, man, how eerie is that? The cloth tissue down on it. Refrigerators, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chair. Front door. Cream cleanser. Super the cream cleaner. Gloves. And what's in here? A little chapel. Oh my god. A little chapel here. Bring the body in. Family could say their final goodbyes, identify the body, etc. Oh yeah, it will just fall off. I don't like looking through this though. I feel more comfort in here where they used to work on the bodies than with that refrigerator. Staying here is not my actual concern. I could sleep here somewhat okay. I'd like to stay on there. It's getting all of my stuff through that. I'll go outside, I'll grab my stuff, I'll reassess what I'm going to do. That was my goal, to sleep on that.
The air feels stale, thick with chemicals. Inside metal tables, body drawers, and medical tools remain untouched, as though time completely paused there. A nearby side chapel stays intact, silent, and disturbing in its stillness. Despite the setting, he decides to remain overnight.
Look where we are, man. Also got me a torch, but let's set up bed. And then make this home, eh? And that is us. We have our bed sorted, made up, ready. I think I'm going to close these double doors because I don't want to be looking at any of that. I was just hearing some really weird noises. It's too quiet at the moment. I don't think you'll hear it. Is there anybody here with me? If there's somebody here, can you make some noise? This is where they used to work on the bodies with the autopsy, identification, forensics. Oh, good morning. I woke up a few times and I struggled to get sleep, but once I was asleep I was alright. Now I need to start getting all this packed away and thrown out there one by one. Goodbye, morgue. I didn't want to mention it in there in case I riled up any of the ghosts or spirits or anything like that, but there was a constant tapping. It sounded like the whole building was just tapping. When I was sleeping on my side, I felt like there was a pressure on my leg. My torso just had this cold sensation go through it from the back to the front. There was lots and lots of noises and stuff. I was just hearing loads of mad ticking noises, tapping noises.
As nightfall arrives, the quiet turns suffocating. Soft knocks and faraway clicks start to appear difficult to track or explain. Sleep arrives only in brief pieces. By dawn, he departs physically unharmed, but rattled, later remembering repeated knocking, and a strange pressure felt throughout the night. What makes this event frightening is not quick motion or obvious danger, but extended, quiet, unfamiliar noises, and the mental burden of solitude in a location of death. When faint feelings remain without simple answers, how do we tell natural causes from something reacting to our presence? On an evening in September 2025, a TikTok user called Fresh Guy M1 was inside his Calgary, Alberta home, casually gazing through a window when he saw something he could not make sense of. When he started filming, the situation grew impossible to dismiss.
Yo, but do you see that in the window?
Inside the residence, a person dressed in black moved with slow, deliberate steps. Nearby, another individual seemed to be lying still on the floor. The longer the recording continued, the more disturbing it felt, especially as loud, painful screams rang out from within the house, cutting through the otherwise street. Online viewers soon began to speculate. Some thought it might involve a medical or emergency, while others wondered why police were never contacted. With no information, the clip leaves blanks, posing. One question, was it a mistake or something occurring behind closed doors?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.